Today, we're asking a tough question. Why is there a divide between the Black Americans or the Black Americans, Africans, and the Caribbeans? And who is really to be blamed? Is it just history, culture, or just a beefing with the real enemy where the real enemy is laughing at us? So, if you ever felt a tension at a family, at a family cookout with cousins from abroad, or seen a diaspora drama blow up on social media, this one is for you. And if you're a person of a color, and even if you're an uncolored person, I think this will hit you hard. So hit that like, subscribe, and drop a comment. Which side are you? And let's dive in. So we shall start by actually watching this video because I've seen this clip on internet and it really covers a lot that need to be seen or to be discussed. Then we shall come and dive in.
Black Africans and Black Caribbeans and Black Americans are different. Black Africans and Black Caribbeans are closer, almost identical. They have high, and I'm generalizing now, but generalization is pretty accurate. They have high self-esteem and lower levels of confidence. Black Americans have higher levels of confidence and lower levels of self-esteem. Because of slavery lasted here longer, it was turned into a business, and it was an intentional desire to destroy your spirit, because if they had this black man here, coming here with all that build and all that brawn from, by the way, they say they went to Africa, oh, we're dumb, we're stupid. Knock that off. 1600s, 1500s was an agricultural age. The wealthiest gold in America, in the world, were cotton crops and sugar crops and tobacco crops, which are in areas which were very humid, very hot, and the soil was almost dead. Who could master dead soil? Africans. So they went halfway around the world to find the geniuses of the soil. They brought us halfway around the world because we could build wealth for them and income. But they didn't need this brother's attitude. They needed his body. So they separated from his family, so he had no hope. They abused his wife and held him down so he couldn't protect her until he gave up his self-esteem. Now he's just machinery. So now, 400 years later, we never healed. So if I don't like me, I'm not going to like you. If I don't feel good about me, I'm not going to feel good about you. If I don't respect me, don't expect me to respect you. If I don't love me, I don't have a clue how to love you. And here's the big one. If I don't have a purpose in my life, I'm going to make your life a living hell. Whatever goes around, comes around. So we have high confidence, Jerome, because we've competed and succeeded against all odds in the biggest economy on the planet. So we have high confidence because we're competent, but we have low self-esteem, which is why you have crab in the barrel. It's why somebody's sitting there going, what is he talking about? My life? Why would anybody have anything with something positive to say right now? So if you got a problem with me, you need to check yourself. I don't even know you. So, as Quincy Jones once said, not 1 ounce of my self-esteem depends on your acceptance of me. So it's okay if you don't like me, I like me. Now, Black African, y'all, come on now, we having church in here. Now, Black Africans and Caribbeans experience slavery lower for a shorter period of time, and they experience family structure and role modeling for a longer period of time. The mayor was Black. The governor was Black. The premier was Black. The dentist was Black. The barber was Black. The thief was Black. Everybody was Black. Together families. So they have higher self-esteem, but they have lower confidence because they didn't succeed in a market economy. It makes perfect sense. So that's why when Black Africans or Caribbeans come here, within 2 or 3 years, they're killing it. Yet the Ethiopians in Washington, D.C., they're at the Park Hyatt parking the cars. Within a couple of days, they've hired the buddies to be valets. Within a few weeks, they're also the taxi drivers. Within a couple months, they put the money in for an Uber car. Now they got a black car. Now they got 3 black cars. Now they live together. Now they have their entire staff in the front of the lobby. They have the valets. They got the taxi. They got the Ubers. They're willing to rent you an apartment if you want one. I mean, but that's because the hustle was the only ingredient that they missed, the opportunity. Black people, Black Americans are the role models for the world. But we've got a little bit confused because we think that's enough. We're also depressed. I think that 70% of Black Americans clinically undiagnosed depressed. And I can't prove that number. I love number. I can't prove that one. Whenever I talk to somebody, our people in a real conversation, can I get an amen? So when we're having a real conversation, we just have to heal so we can deal. Now, if we can heal, which is real wealth, and heal ourselves and love ourselves, now we can have a relationship. Now, in a relationship, it's the only time where it should be multiplication and not math. So if in a relationship, if 2 + 2 does not equal 6, 8, or 10, what are you doing? If you're not better together, what are you doing? When you go to the club tonight, what's tonight? Tonight's Saturday. When you go to the club tonight, what's tonight? Right. Entrepreneurs, we work 18 hours, they keep getting a job. We can work 18 hours and 6, and we have a nap for 3 hours, for 6 hours, that's it. So yeah, I don't know what day it is. You go to the club tonight? Oh man, she's fine. Oh, he's so handsome. What's your name? Oh, what's your credit score? And I'm only partially joking. After the looks fall away and the body falls away, that's your business partner for life. 2 + 2 should equal 6, 8, or 10. If you're not better together, what are you doing? So this thing we're talking about is self-esteem is the entire ball game. If we can't fix this, we're done. No one else can hurt us, will hurt us. If we can fix this, I believe we will and we are. No one can stop us.
So I'll be attaching the clips that I've researched and some of the tweets that I've found out, and I'll manage to get some of the best actually discussion material from the Reddit. So this divide did not start just yesterday. It goes back to the centuries. Black Americans forged through slavery, Jim Crow, and the civil rights. Then Africans who faced colonialism and independence and the struggles. And without forgetting our Caribbean brothers and sisters who built identities through plantation and life and island resilience. We share a melanin, but our history it's splitting very hard. Or history splits hard. So even decades ago, Caribbean migrants in the United States clashed with the native Black Americans over jobs and cultural differences. Then it's today where that tension lives on and lives online. Or there have been arguments, about accent, about the food and dating and even work ethic. By the way, I love the Caribbean accent. So some Africans call African Americans, of which last time I saw they didn't want to identify themselves as African Americans, but as Black Americans because they don't associate themselves with the black because with Africa because these are people who've lived generations in America. So some Africans call Africans American, the Black Americans, lazy. So some Black Americans says that Africans are opportunistics and that non-culture insult. Come on, we gave the world hip hop, jazz, and black excellence. But remember, colonialism and slavery planted those seeds, that hatred seeds, between these two individuals or these three individuals. You know, And it was a divide and conquer, which still echoes in our mind up to today. And of which I found some clips from online. Now I found this post on X from a person called John Lafrevre. Hope I'm pronouncing it on correct. So he say Africans or African American culture is destroying the Black America. So he has differentiated you what the idea. So embracing a single motherhood and celebrating violence. So too many people are afraid to call it out for fear of being called racist. But then, why do Ethiopians and Nigerians immigrants do better in America than black Americans? That's a tough question. Racial division and disparity is not as a result of a lingering effect of slavery, but rather disastrous policies, false media narratives, and the collapse of the entire family unit. So in the 1960s, black and whites were very similar in terms of income, education, and incarcerations. It's hard to argue that racism is worse today, yet the gap between the race has exploded. So why? Is that the Great Society welfare, war on drugs, bidden crime bills, absent fathers, and cultural degeneracy. Now please go scroll on X, scroll on Twitter or any other social media platform, and you'll see the battlefield, where they're saying African immigrants are outpacing black Africans in schools and income, why some say it's two-parent homes and stricter family structures, and there were black Americans who are replying saying you're still standing on our struggle, which we fought for civil rights, and you're reaping the benefits when you're coming, in America. Then on the other side, the Caribbeans also on the social media platform, they are saying they're catching hate on both sides, they're mocked as outsiders or as island folks. But the truth is, everyone's guilty of throwing shade. Everyone is guilty of throwing shell. And the media, you know, the media, it is amplifying the beef. Pessimism, there are stereotypes, and algorithm is pushing the outrage and also keeping the divide. So I was reading, these articles, all these tweets on how there's a blame game, or where there's these social medias pushing more of divide, and let's talk this. Who is that person that must be blamed for all of this, and let's try, I'll be keeping it real. Number one, let's talk about the system and how it's to be blamed for all this. So there've been war on drugs, redlining, the counterfeit products, which are designed to destroy the black units, and you know, which sometimes looks more like a fact, and there's ourselves, we are internalizing the hate, the tribalism in Africa. Until up to now, African countries have visa restrictions. There are some of Africans, digital creators that can travel to another country, for free. Their visa restriction, and even the colorism in the island, There's division in America, and we keep fighting each other instead of fighting the same system that is causing the divide. Let's talk about the migrant tension that has been building up. Some newcomers look down on black Americans. Some black Americans are gatekeeping the blackness, into quotes, and nobody's clean, you know. And what is the truth? That history is the loaded gun. Policies are pulling the trigger and you're keeping reloading with the stereotypes. And let me go through some of these social media posts on X, on Reddit, and you understand what I'm trying to say here is that is deeper than we think. Let's start. This is somebody by the name Curtis Scone who is saying the black in the diaspora attribute their socioeconomic deficits to racism and slavery. This is something that is also trying to pick a fight, but I'll read. But there's no a place in the world where black people, you see, there's no place in the world where black people have, lagging. Even in countries that never experienced slavery, where blacks are the majority, some blame capitalism or colonialism. But even Indians who left India, who are very as poor and were also colonized, flourish among black people in Africa and the Caribbean. Lebanon is a your country, but any Lebanese has to do is migrate to Africa or the Caribbean and they prosper. Constantly looking for outward for the people hasn't worked. We are doing something wrong. Slavery did not cause the problem caused slavery. The selfishness, lack of scruples, cowardice, treacheries, and then some has cost us dearly across the generations. All people have these traits and suffer due to them, but we make excuses rather than self-correct. I want to actually, comment on this topic, and if it's a black person, I'm very, very much disappointed by you, brother, at Curtis School, if you are watching this, because Africans, they are not, no, let's start here. They are whites. They are white. There are Asians who are poor. That's right. And it's the economic disparity, the upbringing that is causing this. Reason I was, breathing somebody, or I was telling somebody that, when we were very young, we were being told, or we were told to read hard so that we become what? Pilots. But there's no amount of reading hard. It's, are you coming from a well-off family? Or are you privileged enough? Because let's say, like right now in Kenya, I think for you to own that is a private pilot license, it costs upward of 1M shillings. How many people from the humble background, from the poverty stricken background, will afford that? None. Because it's like they're living from hand to mouth. And we see they are very rich, they're very rich Africans that are doing very well in other countries, and they are very black rich people no, that are doing well in their own countries. So whatever you talking here, it might be true, but again, no, no, no. Oh, you guys, please put down the comment section what you think. What is the Black School saying really true? Or has some things that makes you wonder. Now, where did all this division come from? Where did the black, the Caribbeans, and the divisions really come from? So we've seen the war has been emanating from social media. The same war happened in Britain, where the Afro-Caribbeans and the blacks or the African immigrants, they were not in good terms sometimes back. Due to what? Due to what? Due to how the economic disparities. So this is crash here tonight. This is a black American who say the diaspora war really backfired on the Africans, mainly West Africans and the Caribbeans that started it. It was initially meant to degrade the black Americans into giving other melanated groups more access to our culture and identity, but it's actually giving less. And it's empowered black Americans to realize this group aren't related to us in any meaningful way. You hear how these people are what causing the division. No, it went from black Americans don't have culture to black Americans are the dominant culture of the world, and their group don't have any culture. So according to this friend of ours, you know, is that the black, you know, after this war started, that the diaspora black, discover that they don't have culture, or they don't have any culture. Rather, the black Americans have what? Have all the culture in the world are from them. And he continues to say, where are you from? Intended to be an insult to black Americans standing on our lineage here and excluding these other groups. So he say black Americans always come out on top. So this is the black American perspective. So I want you guys, if you're black Americans or if you're African diaspora or the Caribbean, please put down in the comment section what do you think about this. Then this one say, I wish black Americans in particularly could see where our influence, our so-called power, really comes from. It's not rooted in strength or unity. It's propped up by the white guilty and what I see as their bigotry of low expectation. This is a harsh truth we need to face. Okay? The fragility of black influence. As white fatigue set in and more whites abandon their guilt, black influence is waning. It's not secret that crime rates and other issues associated with some black communities continue to frustrate other racial groups. On top of that, our share of the population is shrinking with the rise of the Hispanic and Asian populations groups. You know, let's be open, or let's be honest, often align more closely with white Americans in terms of basic culture, values, and societal norms. I fear black people are at risk of losing what little leverage we have if you're not careful, we could be relegated to a second class existence shined by the rest of the society. You know, number two, he talked about the illusion of political power. Now, the power. I'm talking about our near unanimous support for the Democratic Party. But let's be real. This party has done meaningful for black people. Worse, I believe they have orchestrated our dependency, addiction to the government handouts, and the promises that never materialized. With what I've seen from the Democrats in recent months, from their betrayals of the American people to their deep corruption. People do their deep corruption. I can tell the moment Democrats no longer need to court the black vote at election time, they will abandon us, will be discarded as soon as we're no longer useful. This is my greatest fear for our community. And he's also talking about the breaking the cycle. So black Americans must break free from the subculture we have chained ourselves to. What I call the cycle, it's a mindset and lifestyle that keep us trapped, isolated from the broader society. We have to reject this path and integrate into mainstream, adopting the value. So guys, what's the way forward? Because if I continue to talk about the issue, I think I'll make a part 2 of the video about the whole issues and we shall discuss more. So blame easy, healing is harder, but it's possible. We don't need to be the same to stand together. Black Americans bring activism and the cultural influence. Africans bring the heritage and the entrepreneurship. The Caribbeans, on the other side, bring the rhythm, the pride, and the community. Now, imagine combining all that, the power that we as colored people we shall have, the Pan-African potential. We can argue the difference, or we can decide to build bridges, and the choice is ours. You know what? So, family, what do you think? Can you unite, or are we too different? Can we end the disparities that we've been having between the Caribbeans, between the blacks, the diasporan blacks, and the Americans? So drop your thoughts below and hit that home, like, subscribe, and don't forget to share with your friends so that when we drop the next topic, the next part, you get in touch. So my question is this: can Pan-Africanism save us? Until then, stay woke, stay connected, and stay proud. Thank you.